when it comes to success, is there a price that you have to pay? Well, I would say yes. But recently I've been reading this book by an author named David Schwartz, and the name of the book is The Magic of Thinking Big. Now, in this book, he says that there is no price for success, right? You don't have to pay a price. He basically says that every step forward creates dividends. Now, I think that this is an interesting concept because I like that idea that yes, and I agree that every step forward does pay dividends. But I also do think that there is a price for success. So let's talk about that.
Gotta talk about my life as I see it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And now if you're new here, my name is Jonathan Moore. I have a visual media company. I'm a creative entrepreneur, and I like to make videos like these for other creatives out there who are trying to build a life on their terms and get it how they live. So today's video, we're going to be talking about the price of success, this concept of, is there a price that you have to pay for success? And I believe that there is. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there's a book that I'm reading. It's called The Magic of Thinking Big. And he had a quote where I paraphrased it, which was basically saying that there is no price. It's just that every step forward pays dividends. Now, he comes up with this concept by basically saying that when you are on the road to success, right, there might be people around you who are kind of like naysayers or maybe even non-believers. And they'll lead you to believe that sometimes the price you have to pay for success is too much. And that's where he's combating and saying that it's not so much that it's a price you pay. It's just that all the steps forward you take create more and more good things. And I agree to this. I agree with this to some degree, because I do believe that there is a price that you have to pay. And that price that you have to pay is the sacrifices that you're willing to make. Now, when it comes to sacrifices, they're not all bad, right? Sometimes you have a good sacrifice or whatever, right? Or it depends on how others look at them, right? For example, you might have to sacrifice some time for your family, but on the other side, the reward could be greater, right? It could be what that reward is doing for your family. And everybody's going to have their own threshold and their own tolerance. So, let's talk about that, because I believe that you do have to put in sacrifices, right? I believe that if you're trying to get somewhere, you're trying to achieve a goal, and whatever it is that you're trying to achieve that goal in, you're going to have some sacrifices along the way, right? Sometimes you have to sacrifice certain friends that you hang out with. Sometimes it has to be certain family members that you hang around with. Sometimes it has to be how you choose to spend your time, right? You got to sacrifice some things to get the ultimate reward in the end. And depending on how big of a success you want to be also does depend on, or also does, in my opinion, create the sacrifice that you're going to have to make. Because if you're super, super successful, right, there's a lot of sacrifices you're going to have to make, because there's a lot of work that goes into attaining that success, right? There's rarely, if anybody, who is super, super successful who didn't have to do a lot to get there. And that's the catch, right? That's the rub. When you're doing one thing, you're sacrificing another thing, right? If you're over here and you're focusing on that, you're sacrificing this. And it all is going to depend on you, because everybody has their own personal goals that they want to reach, whether they're big goals or whether they're just small, everyday struggle goals. Everybody has their own goal that they want to reach. But in order to achieve those goals, you have to take the steps necessary, right? And so those steps that you are taking is the sacrifice that you're making, right? You might sacrifice sleep so you can wake up early, so you can get to work on time, or by a certain time so you can have this thing happen and that thing happen. And those are those small steps forward that are paying the dividends, right? You get up early enough, you get to work on time, you make a good impression, you get your work done faster. There's a whole slew of good things that come as a result of that, right? If you're taking the time, a couple, hours a week, right, to exercise, to work out, right, you're sacrificing time that could have been spent on the couch, mindlessly scrolling on social media. And so is there a price to pay? I do believe there is a price to pay, right? You always hear that story that you got to pay the cost to be the boss. And without a doubt, in my mind, that's absolutely true. But what it's going to come down to is it's going to come down to, what are you willing to sacrifice, right? What steps are you willing to take? What adjustments are you willing to make? What are you willing to leave behind? What are you willing to incorporate to get to your goals, right? because in order to get to those goals, you're going to have a series of small steps, right? Nothing just happens overnight. Everything takes time. You got to get knocked down to get back up. And so there is a price that you're going to have to pay. But knowing that, you also need to know that every step forward does pay some type of a dividend. So when it comes to the price of success, is there a price? In my opinion, yes. Do I believe that small steps forward pay dividends? Absolutely, without a doubt. But it's going to be up to you, the individual, right, to determine what price you're willing to pay, what sacrifices you're willing to make to achieve your overall goal. So hopefully you found that video useful and helpful. And if so, give me a like, drop me a comment, and let me know. Where are you at right now in your creative journey? What sacrifices have you made to try to achieve your goals? And for all my people out there who are trying to build a life on their terms so they can get it how they live, this is your man, Jonathan Moore, and I'm signing out. Peace.